Hi, this is Joyce Polino-Crane. I'm the news director at WestfordCAT, and I'm here today with a special group of people who are working to help others with substance abuse issues. So first I'm going to introduce the town's Substance Abuse Prevention Coordinator,
Very good.
Ray Peachey. It's the longest title
I know.
in the town.
I know. Yeah, definitely. Hi, I'm glad we're here again. And there's a couple of things that I'd like to bring up. The health department just received a grant from the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, and it was for a little over $5,000. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to hire a certified drug counselor. And the drug counselor, should there be an overdose in town, which I can say in 2016 we had 23 overdoses and we had 4 deaths. We haven't had the 2017 figures finalized yet. But so if there's an overdose, the counselor will be notified of a person's name and a phone number on the next day. So within a day or two, they will get a call from the counselor, the family or the person, and they will be asked if they would like a counselor to come free of charge, part of the grant, and the counselor will, if they say yes, they'll set a time up and the counselor will go to the house or anywhere they want and meet and talk to them about, you know, what he can do or what she can do for them, and leave some literature and everything. So
That's a wonderful grant.
that it really is.
Yeah.
I think it's going to help a lot. I really hope it's used as much as I want it to. I'm not sure how many people will want to, but at least we are offering that to it.
Okay.
And part of that grant.
Well,
Go ahead.
let's get back to that, Ray. So
Okay.
let me introduce everybody
Yep.
else first before we go on. We'll come back to you and some of the other things that you're offering. So next to you is Matt O'Malley,
Yes.
and you are sitting next to Dawn Trask and Ryan. I just forgot your last name.
Tripp, T-R-I-P-P.
Ryan Tripp. You are all, Matt, you're a co-founder, and Dawn and Ryan, you are founders of a nonprofit organization that you two have founded called Boots on the Ground. Dawn, tell us what that means.
Well, after Tyler and Ryan have passed due to an overdose, fentanyl overdose, Ryan passed in April of 2015.
So let me interrupt for a minute. We're talking about your son, Tyler Colleton.
No, we're talking about Ryan,
well-
Ryan Jr.
Okay, well, we're talking about both of them. So Ryan
Yes.
Jr.
He passed in 2015 of a fentanyl overdose.
and Ryan is Ryan's son.
Yes.
And then we have a picture here of
Tyler.
Tyler. This is your son.
Who passed in 2016 here in Westford from a fentanyl overdose. I know Ray just mentioned 4 people that passed an overdose fatality of my son, fentanyl overdose. Tyler was one of them here in Westford.
That's true. That's right. Yes. So you and I have talked before. You've come on my show before, and we did do a half an hour show about Tyler and what you went through.
Yes.
So we are going to talk a little bit today about what you and Ryan have done to make the world a little safer for those who
Yes.
are have challenges.
There are people out there struggling of substance abuse, and Boots on the Ground. Our page opened up December 1st. We actually have been doing this for about 3 years since Ryan Jr. has passed, getting people into detox and recovery. And we've opened up our page, like I said, December 1st, and really went further with providing more services to people out there.
When you say your page, are you talking about a website?
I'm talking about Boots on the Ground Facebook page, yes.
You have a Boots on the Ground Facebook page, okay.
Yes, and where people can contact us on that page in order to get help. Matt here is a recovering addict, has turned his life around amazingly, has done very well, and has helped us out with Boots on the Ground. He is a co-founder of Boots on the Ground, and he provides us with many services to many people.
So Matt, tell us a little bit about your history and what you've been through.
Well, you know, I'm an addict myself. Been an addict for years and years and years, and you know, it's brought me to, you know, the bitter ends of this earth, and it consumed my life for such a long time. My issue was I didn't know how to get out of active addiction. I didn't know how to seek help. The only thing I knew for so long is how to get high and how to continue to run away from reality, how to use a mind and mood altering substance to numb myself. I never knew how to reach out. I never knew that there were services out there, and I never knew that there was anybody that actually even cared about my well-being. And if somebody cared, I often ask the questions, you know, what do you want from me?
So what were you using?
I am a heroin addict. But that goes without saying, with being a heroin addict, you know, whatever was available at that point in time to get outside of myself, it was really for me.
So now, how are you helping people?
Well, now, you know, I like to give back what's been freely given to me. By the grace of my God and by some people that have, you know, guided me in my recovery, Dawn and Ryan. I started my process, you know, a mutual family member reached out to Ryan when I was active, and Ryan sent me to Florida in a scholarship for his in his son's name.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it was an experience of how like that played out and how I got there, and I got the help that I needed, and that's when I started to recover. And I remember before I got on the plane, I looked at Ryan and I said, hey, listen, when I come back, I'm gonna do what you do, and we're gonna work together, and we're gonna help a lot of people.
How long were you there in Pompano, Florida?
I was in Florida for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years.
Oh, wow. Did it take that long to get clean? Or did you decide to stay there?
It's still a process for my stuff. I'm clean. It took that long to get clean. Now I'm in recovery, where, you know, I kind of take my will back. I take my life back, and I try to better myself on a daily basis. And for me, where I'm at in my recovery, you know, bettering myself means helping the active addict. I have a goal, and it's to show, you know, the person struggling with addiction, you know, the kid that was me years ago, that just doesn't know how to get out. I want to get on his level, and I want to show him that recovery is possible.
Ryan, how does Boots on the Ground work? It sounds like you're sort of on call 24/7.
Our team is on call 24/7, 7 days a week. Being a parent of loss, when someone reaches out, that's the most critical time. So you just got to be ready. There's never a time that you can't be prepared to offer that help.
Yeah.
So we're basically on call. Yeah, it's a commitment.
What's the process? If somebody does reach out to you or Dawn, do you call Matt and say, can you go, or do you both go yourselves? Or?
Well, depending on what's going on with other people, usually we try to check in. If Matt's busy, we'll check in with some other people, or we'll do it ourselves, Dawn. And usually it involves finding out what their needs are. The person may be suffering from alcohol or heroin, and you know, do they need to get into a detox? Sometimes they're clean and they're just struggling. They're looking for a sober living. So the needs vary depending on the call. Sometimes it's support. Sometimes they want to just get to a meeting. I'm hurting. I need to get to a meeting. I just moved here. You know, can you help me find a sponsor? Sometimes the people have a treatment and a bed waiting, but they need a ride. I have a bed waiting in Plymouth. I need a ride. Can your group help me find someone to give me a ride? So we'll make posts and call people. It's just a network to try to help people survive this epidemic. Is basically what it is. So they don't wind up dead. So they have a chance at life.
Right.
We work as a team. We're a team effort, the three of us.
Yeah.
And we do have some other people on our team that work in the office and do what we need them to do. And we also have a dog program, therapy dog program, which works good with people
Yeah.
who are struggling.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Is that a partnership or with
She's
somebody?
part of our group. Yeah, the woman who runs the dog therapy program. She's part of our group.
Does she raise and train the dogs?
She adopts them from the
Death Row in New York.
Wow, what a great program.
Yeah.
So Ray, you are the former DARE counselor for the town of Westford.
Yes.
So
Many years ago, yes.
And tell us again what DARE stood for.
Drug Abuse Resistance Education. And it was a program which you had to be a police officer and you went into the 5th grade for a 16-week program. Once a week you went in and you taught different things. I mean, it was drugs, alcohol, bullying, self-esteem was the main part of that.
Yeah.
So.
Because you found that kids that had good self-esteem were.
Well, you can say
We're
no.
less
The more
likely?
self-esteem you have, the easier it is to say no. I won't say that you can say no, but the easier it is to say no. So that was the main part of it, is just trying to get them to have the self-esteem and know why to say no to it and be able to say no.
Matt, can you speak to that? You know, you're 27 years old now, but way back when, you know,
Absolutely.
what was it like growing up?
I'm a strong believer in that, like, addiction doesn't come out of nowhere. Nobody uses drugs because it just sounds like a good idea or that's what they want out of life. Nobody makes the decision that, you know, I'm going to be consumed by active addiction, you know, steal, use, and abuse. And it just doesn't happen that way. I think that, you know, there's always a life traumatic situation that's happened. For me, it was I lost my mother. So, you know, like he spoke on, you know, my self-esteem wasn't there.
Yeah. How old were you when you lost your mother?
About 14 years old. But the ability to trust people, to love people, to receive love, all these simple amenities that you should be able to enjoy as a little child in life, you know, kind of was robbed from me, and I never knew how to cope from it. So what I did is I ran from it. There's always a traumatic, something causes your addiction. And that's what I like to, I like to trigger that. I would not be able to recover unless I was able to mend with my past and deal with what happened with me in the past.
So how did you find the drugs? I know you grew up in Boston. How did you even find the drugs? You were young.
Well, you know, where I'm from, you know, it was, like I said, I spoke on it. It was part of being socially accepted. The people that I wanted to be socially accepted by used drugs. So I used drugs to seek that validation and that love and to fit in, to be accepted. These simple feelings, you know, I was seeking from all the wrong things. And it was, you know, it's where I grew up, and, you know, it was around, and that's the crowd that I decided to surround myself with. Nowadays, it's just everywhere. And a simple rap song, you know, it's glorified. Using, drinking, drugging is a glorified series of events now. But what's not spoken of is how can we get off of it?
Right.
What happens if you continue to use them?
Right.
How bad does it consume your life?
So you both know the consequences of
Yes.
drug
And
abuse.
like Matt said, it's caused, your addiction is caused by something. Mm-hmm. Your addiction, for my son, it was a football injury. He tore his rotacuff.
And that's very painful. Right.
It was very painful. He also lost his best friend the same year. Mm-hmm. He also has his wisdom teeth pulled out the same year. So we're talking about three major things where one was a loss. He lost his really best friend that he had been friends with for years. And then having his wisdom teeth pulled out was pain medication.
Was he prescribed some kind of opiate?
Yeah, he was prescribed Percocet.
Yeah.
And he was prescribed Percocet for his shoulder injury too, which took him down a road of mischief and behavioral problems and depression and whatnot. But something has to cause that addiction.
What was it for Ryan? Just experimentation, or?
Yeah, I think like what Matt was saying, to fit in, sometimes the kids will experiment, and unfortunately, I don't know what happens in the schools so much. I know when I grew up, DARE was in our schools. I know none of the kids wanted to experiment with heroin or anything like that. This generation is different. Opioids are prevalent, they're everywhere, and they kill. It's not like marijuana or alcohol or something teenagers might experiment with. You fool with this drug, it will take your life, no questions asked. I see it all the time. And it just breaks my heart that to escape reality, it costs someone their life. A lot of the kids that we lose are in their early 20s, and they have a whole future ahead of them. They never get a chance to get married and have their own kids, or even sadder, they leave kids behind. They leave babies behind. And instead of just sitting back and doing nothing, I want to help as people if I can.
So let's talk about Ryan's bed, because you were telling me before the camera started rolling that.
An amazing gift from some folks that knew Ryan. They have a treatment center in Florida.
It's called what?
Simple Paths Recovery in Boca Raton. And I get an opportunity for someone in Massachusetts that's struggling to be sent there for real good treatment and start their life over and get the help they need through doctors and psychiatrists and knowledge about drugs and tools. So if you get a craving or an idea about using, you get a foundation. You know, you're gonna, instead of acting on impulse, you use some of the tools they teach you, whether it be meditation, the big book, or there's a lot of different ways. But a lot of times the kids don't have the knowledge or the resources to. Anyone can jump in on this if you want.
It's it's a program that Matt went through.
Right.
We sent him to Florida in Ryan Jr.'s scholarship bed, and Matt can speak a little bit on that because he's very familiar with that.
That I am, yeah. This program, Simple Path Recovery, is a phenomenal program. What they have to offer is really endless. For me, I wanted my recovery at that point. You can lead a horse to water, you can't force the horse to drink. But timing's everything. At that point in time when Ryan, got me underneath his wing and sent me there, I was ready to drink. So I went to Simple Path Recovery with an open mind.
What do you mean you were ready to drink? Oh, you were ready to drink like the horse.
I was
to
ready
water.
to take the guidance that was provided for me. You reach that point where you'll just do anything to have a better life.
Have a better life.
I think at some point, every addict wants out.
Well,
They're sick of living that way. Like sometimes I get a call from someone, or we do, and they want help, and then we get the bed all lined up, and then they don't show up, or they don't answer their phone. Then they'll call back a week later and be like, "I still need help. Will you help me?" And how can you say no?
So
There's a human
start
being.
over again.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's not they feel it might be a hassle to me, but to me, if you reach out and you want help, I'm gonna be damn sure.
We don't
But I
ever
wanna
give
help.
up on anybody.
That's
if we don't give up.
it's a huge thing.
Yeah, that must be huge. Like a
Having
parent.
people behind you
Yeah,
that just want you to get better,
yeah.
that aren't going to give up on you, is a beautiful thing. You know, unfortunately, some people come into this field and, you know, they have the best intentions, but, you know, they can't follow up as much as, you know, the addict. Well, you know, people, there's phenomenal programs everywhere. But, like, you got to understand, people clock in at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then they clock out at 5. They don't understand that the addict's life doesn't clock out at 5 with them. So that's what we try to offer is, like, you know, I advocate for people on the outside. You know, I'll get them into detox, and, you know, I'll chase them. I'll hunt them down, and I'll let them know, like, I'm right behind you. And, you know, we're going to place you into further treatment. And then once we place you into further treatment, because I'm advocating for you when you're in detox or in treatment, then we're going to go to meetings. You know, it's consistency that keeps the addict doing the next right thing. I know this because that's what I got from Dawn and Ryan.
But you had a scholarship from
Yes.
Ryan's bed. What happens if there's no money, or where does the money come from to place these people?
The scholarship, you know, a scholarship could come from a number of different places. Networking is big when you're in this field.
Yeah.
Raising awareness, working with the right people that have the same motive. It's a lot of hard work that comes from the organizations that you work with. Then eventually you raise the money, and then you send an individual to treatment. A scholarship's not an easy thing to come around.
Right, it doesn't seem like it is.
It's a great opportunity. But a scholarship, let's not get confused, is not what makes you recover. It's the willingness and the guidance that you have. So I find if you have the right guidance, you don't even necessarily need a scholarship to go to Florida to recover. You could do it right here with the right people behind you.
Ray, are there resources that you offer residents when they need help?
Being a government agency, I can't offer private agencies. I can't recommend private agencies to go to and help them out.
Like Spectrum or High Point or NorCap, you can't refer them?
I'm not allowed to do that. It's almost like, well, they could be paying me on the side. So it's, you know, you can Google it, go on the web, get some ideas there. But that is a limitation that we do have, unfortunately.
The problem we find in Massachusetts is most of these beds are full, and you got to make over, some cases, 50, 60 calls to get someone placed.
Absolutely.
It's not you pick up the phone and say, do you have any beds? It's, they answer and say, we'll put you on a list, we're full. Call back tomorrow.
Dial a bed,
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Much.
There's totally not enough treatment beds in this state, and that's one of the main reasons these kids are dying. I can't say how many times we got to wait to place. We just tried to place 2 pregnant girls the other day, and we got one in right away, thank God, and the other one took 3 or 4 days. And we tried all these places, and I just can't believe this is still happening years after I lost my son. I've been to the State House and advocated. And
We need a lot more money to.
Governor
to get
Baker
these
has
moving.
proposed a 72-hour hold, which I totally agree would help. And I hear a lot of feedback about that, about people who work in the ER. Where are we supposed to put them? We don't have money for that. It's like, you're a hospital. I mean, one of the greatest things we've done is in Methuen Family Holy Hospital. We bring people there occasionally because they'll take anyone, and they have a great team. The hospital doesn't look down at them, doesn't shame them. And
Good for them.
They help them with resources. And that's how we spent our New Year's Eve. We sat in the ER with
We
one of
did.
our clients or one of our friends who reached out. And we
now in Florida.
we didn't like Super Bowl. I don't know if I'll be bringing someone to detox or watching the game or
Right.
what's going on.
It sounds like
my
you're-
phone is on,
right.
and if someone needs help, I go.
You just go.
We have to be
We
there.
don't sleep.
Yeah, that's
Sleep
remarkable.
is very rare.
But you are so committed. Before we're getting close to winding down, and before we do, I just want to give Ray a chance to mention some of
Absolutely.
the things that you were about to talk about at the beginning of the show.
Right. This is it's a deterrent drug activation system. And what it does is it's so easy. If you have drugs that are unused, people just keep them. A lot of kids are now starting to go and getting these drugs. They'll take a few of them, going to their grandparents.
In the
okay?
medicine
In
cabinet.
the medicine
Mhm.
cabinets, a good one.
Sneaking them
When
out.
you go to buy a house, you go in and they just let you roam through the house.
Right.
Go to the medicine cabinet, take some stuff out. You don't know
Nobody
who
would
took
ever
the
miss
stuff.
it, right?
You know?
I wanted to say one thing, Ray. You
Yeah.
mentioned all that, but we have obituaries now where they're putting the kids in the obituaries and mentioning, so-and-so died on this day and their services at this time. And now we have the kids that we're using with this kid who is now breaking into homes and trying to find out where their drugs are at.
Yeah.
You mean they
Oh,
read
my
the
goodness.
obituary and
Yeah.
then
It used
they
to
know
be-
no one's going to be there
Right.
because
Yeah.
all the family's going to be at the service.
Right.
Used
So
to
the
be-
house
Right.
is empty.
Jewelry that they would rob,
Correct.
and
They
now
used to be
it's
for
now
robberies.
it's
a good,
opiates.
and now it's
good
drugs.
for that.
So
this
that's
here,
for disposing?
yeah, this is for disposing. You open it up, you put the unused drugs in it, you put an amount of water that it will tell you. You leave it open for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, you seal it back up and just throw it away in the trash. You don't have to bring it to the police department, the kiosk they have there, or anything. And
safe
it
because
neutralizes
they
the
dissolve.
drugs.
Yeah.
Everything is biodegradable, so it's good for the environment.
So that's part of the grant, right?
That's part of the
That you have
grant.
these packages
Yeah.
to give away?
And we have those at the health department, and they are at the senior centers, and working with the senior center in Westford, we had them delivered on the Meals for Wheels. Meals for Wheels, right?
Meals
I
for
believe it
Less.
is.
And quickly, tell us about Narcan.
All right, this is Narcan. This is the 4 milligram, which is double what it usually came out to. And I mean, this is a very easy thing that you can purchase this at CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, and Rite Aid.
And
Okay?
but you have to be trained to.
But they
to
can train
administer.
you right there.
Oh, they can?
Yes, as a
Oh,
matter of
that's
fact, they're
wonderful
supposed to
know.
train you right there
Yes.
on what to
Okay.
use. And this is just basically stick it up the nose, squirt it in, and it's
you-
going to take effect. It'll
Right.
last for about an hour and a half, up to an hour and a
Enough
half.
to get somebody to the hospital
You have
before.
to get them to the hospital.
And then they need more further treatment. We have to wrap up, unfortunately. Ray Peachey, Matt O'Malley, Dawn Trask, Ryan Tripp, thank you so very much for coming today. I hope to have you back, and we'll do more discussing in the studio and giving people more resources. For WestfordCAT, this is Joyce Polino Crane. See you around town.
Recovery happens.
That does.